Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks, a gay geek podcast.
Oh, we're terrible. Okay,
Here
anyway,
we
sorry.
are, talking about gay shit.
Here we are.
Episode 47, I think.
I forgot what number we are. We
I
must be like
don't know.
43 or 44. It'll say so correctly on the list, on the display,
Pleasing
whatever.
title. Let's get into it. Let's talk about secret engagement.
Secret engagement. We should have like a little intro.
I know. I don't know.
We could take like the theme song maybe of the...
But it's a bit of a melancholy shit theme song, so it's probably not the...
We'll just have to add our own sparkles and rainbows or whatever.
Gay.
Capital G-A-Y. Yes. So here we are talking about episode 2.
We've just finished watching it.
Yes.
And if I'm 100% honest, I don't really know what happened because we were trying to do one of those Disney group watch things and I was distracted by the different sounds going on. I missed a lot.
Oh, I think next time what we should do is just...
I think just watch it.
Well, yeah, just watch it. But I like our little sort of side thingies. But I think in the future, if we sort of mute each other, and then if we have something to say,
Unmute.
Pause it, unmute, and chit chat quickly.
Yeah, we didn't talk that much through. We really didn't need to like have a live feed of every time you scrape peanut butter onto a cracker right by the microphone. It was a little bit distracting.
That was my fault because I was like, I'm so hungry right now, and so I was like,
we could have muted.
Set up. I had the speaker here, and then like the crackers.
We still haven't figured it out. This is why they're winning.
So by the time we get to episode like 200, we'll be shit hot.
Yeah, right. We'll have our own little intro music. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
My thing is when I watch anything that's kind of like spy or action or thriller, I can't remember names. Like Game of Thrones was really hard for me because I had no idea what anyone's name was. I know that's not spy action, but like I forget names. So when like you were saying, oh, it's blurk, I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
And like they're on the phone. It's like, oh, get Flung on the phone. It's like, I don't know who you're talking about. Which one is that? I know they can't just say Olivia Colman or, oh, that guy who was in at the beginning and then forgot about.
Yeah, I was... So talking about episode 2 of Secret Invasion. This is our Secret Invasion featurette. We're going to go through each episode.
Live reactions. Yeah. What happened?
Spoilers from here on out in case you were like, what is this show?
Go watch it.
Go watch it.
In summation...
What happened? I don't know. Not a lot, I suppose.
I don't know. Like, I enjoyed it. I don't know what happened. Like, it's a lot of that kind of like we had the political stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're having like the fallout from the explosions in Moscow. Yeah. And I love how Americans insist on calling it Moscow. Just to think.
That's just how we pronounce it. It's Moscow.
Moscow.
Moscow. Because C-O-W means co, not cow. But the thing is, we can't even default to what the Russians say because they say Moskva. That's how they pronounce their own city. So it's like, we're both wrong.
Falling to pieces. So we're having like the political fallout from that. So we've got War Machine appearing before a council of staff saying, what are you doing? What's going on? Prove Nick Fury wasn't there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's just deferring everything. He's like, well, fuck you. We don't know.
Fuck you. I think I'm not a big War Machine fan. I find his character quite boring, but I think he was really good in this, and like he had his kind of like take no bullshit attitude was very good, and the scene he did with Fury I think was really good.
So the scene he did with Fury was good because it shed some more light on James Rhodes as a character. Because I don't think we know very much about him, about his sort of...
It's just black sidekick.
He's just Black Iron Man kind of thing. But there was a lot of like race in this episode, and I don't know if I imagine there's going to be like a bit of a through line for the whole series because they do mention it. Nick Fury mentions it once in the previous episode as well. But like they play on this sort of on that sort of history that they share together and like what they've gone through. And there's even talk about when Nick Fury grows up, when he and Talos are in the train in the beginning, there's like that as well. And also the sort of reveal at the end that he's been sort of married to a Skrull. Like that's all sort of race adjacent.
Yeah. It does
Um,
feel like, yeah.
and the fact is that you, at one point you said, um, when Nick Fury tells Talos to get off the train, you're like, that's a bit racist, isn't it? Like, are the Skrulls a different race? I mean, they're kind of a different
They
species.
literally are a different race.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, a different race because it's a different species. Like race
Yeah.
is, I think, just different versions of the
Well,
same.
that's how stupid racism is, because like, oh, you're a different race. It's like,
Sure, it's
no,
so
they're
stupid.
humans. It's just a different color skin. You're assholes.
Yeah, race is the same thing that we call breed in other species on Earth. You know, it's like different
Different
uh,
breed.
breed
Um,
of
yeah,
cattle
so
or whatever.
it was good, and I think if you're going to do a spy espionage show starring Samuel L. Jackson, to not play up or not to explore kind of like
Hmm,
racial prejudice and undertones, it's a bit of a waste because he's got some good
that's a
acting
really
chops,
good
and so
point,
does
and I think they do it really well.
I do too.
Sorry to jump on what you were saying, but
Please
like
do. I've finished.
when he was on the scene with Don Cheadle and I keep trying to think. Should I say character names or actor names? The scene with Rhodey and Nick Fury was really good because, like, I'm trying to think. At one point, I was like, "Have I ever seen a spy show where there are two very important African American characters talking about spy shit?" And I can't remember if I've ever seen that before. And then,
Like fully developed, not token. Like
yeah,
here's a
like
walk on black guy.
they each
Yeah,
have like big stakes
yeah.
in the plot, and it's like they each need something from the other, and one person ends up, you know, having the upper hand in a way. It's just like talking about spy shit, and one person doesn't know as much as the other.
Hmm,
And I
hmm.
was like, good, finally, this is you know, this is
It's good.
a quality TV show.
It's quality. What, I don't know what happened in it though. It's a good speech. What
Okay,
happens in it? So he fires Nick
um,
Fury
yeah, but
because
well,
why?
because he's a liability, basically. And the thing is, I don't think that's very
Oh
fair.
yeah.
I don't think
Uh,
it's very fair because at one point he says that the explosion that you caused in Moscow, which is not fair because Nick Fury didn't cause it. It was clearly the Skrull faction. Um,
oh, that's super obvious, and it's not like he could have just like called up the U.S. government. It's like, hey, I think something's happening. Let's all go to Moscow and just like stop
yeah.
it. Like they couldn't
So
have done that. So shut up, Rhodey. You
shut up.
suck.
Yeah, shut up, Brody. I don't like his reasoning for that, but I do. Pardon me. Can you edit that out?
No,
That's the peanut,
no,
that's the peanut butter and crackers coming back. Sorry, dear listener, for having subjugated
absolutely
you.
not.
Subjugate you.
They need to know.
Subject.
Um,
But I do appreciate Rhodey saying um, something else in that speech. Oh, like you can't just show up and suddenly say like I'm going to deal on this alone. He kind of rejected Nick Fury's sort of assertion that this is my fight, my war, and Rhodey's
oh
like,
yeah, he did. He actually said it's my war, isn't it? But
something like that,
which is
my
good because
fight, something,
it's such a trope that they do in action and spy stuff. Is like
and
this.
spy stuff. Yeah.
I have to do this alone.
I'm
Why?
the only one who can stop
I
this.
can't stop. Why? Surely more of us would help, and that's great. So
Yeah.
that's quite good. But also, yeah, it's got to set up the stakes because it's not as much fun if Nick Fury is not on the run, fighting everything off. Like
True.
it's just going to
True.
be a big old mess.
Yeah. There's a reason for that trope, I suppose.
Yeah, because yeah,
So we had that. So he's fired, I suppose, from Shield. I don't know. From I don't know whatever he was doing,
he was Sword, and I think if he's in space, but
or
we'll get onto
Saber, or Saber, the
Saber. They
name of
call
the
it Saber rather than Sword.
station. There is a sword though because Monica Rambeau is what was part of Sword in WandaVision.
She was, and it's in the comic books, but that's what the space station's for, is Sword.
Is
Anyway,
the space station is not called Sword? The space station is called something
the
else.
the organization's called Sword.
Okay, so I think
But
we've got Sword, and I think Saber is the name of the space station.
sure.
Then he gets a hmm?
Before that,
He gets a
we
car.
fi-
So go
he
ahead.
does
Go
get a
ahead.
car. Before that, we find out. So one, the beginning of the episode is the reaction to the explosions in Moscow and everything that's happening, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, the Americans invading Moscow!" And that's the whole point, is they're trying to start a war between the two of them.
Hmm.
And like a load of world leaders are on fake BBC and fake CNN or whatever, saying like, "This is ridiculous. What am I?" That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Cut to a meeting. They all meet together. They all meet Kravik.
Gravik.
Gravik, because I'm thinking Craven the Hunter. Gravik.
Got
And they're all Skrulls.
Craven in
So
mind. Yeah.
all of these senior people, the UK Prime Minister, I don't know who the American was,
Oh, so the
um,
American must have been like some sort of diplomat. I don't know, but
Secretary of Hillary
who
Clinton's thing
who's
or
the
whatever.
actor? Because he's definitely not the
He's the
because
guy from Grease 2.
What?
He's the
He's the guy
guy
who's like
from Greece.
he's like some sort of he's like the bad guy in all these '90s films, whatever. That sort of. Oh,
Yeah,
he's the
like the
bad guy in like.
shit stepdad or
Is he the
something.
bad? He's the Christopher McDonald. Got it. He's
That
the bad
sounds about
guy.
right.
He's the bad guy in Billy Madison, where he says like to Adam Sandler, "I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast," and Adam Sandler says, "You eat pieces of shit for breakfast." Do you remember that part? He's like
No.
the golf movie,
Okay.
or one? No, not the golf movie. That's Happy Madison. Anyway,
I thought that's Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. God, I'm fucking up my history. It's okay.
Jeez. You're the actor, right? You like
This is the ending of
movies?
the yeah.
Your thing?
Happy Gilmore is the one. It's Christopher McDonald. That's where I recognize him from. He's been in loads of shit.
He is from Greece too, just so you
I,
know.
I believe
He
you.
is a
But
T-bird.
they do mention Alexander Pierce in.
Yes. Who the fuck is Alexander Pierce again?
I think he was Robert Redford in The Winter Soldier, the leader of Hydra.
Pierce. Yeah, that sounds about
I
right.
think so.
Is that right? I'm not going to check.
I'm not
Prove
gonna
us wrong. Shout
I
at us
think,
in the comments.
but I think that's who I thought that was at first. But it's not. They're just old middle-aged white men that just blend together after a while. So there's him. So he's just some diplomat. I'm not sure.
He'll be like Secretary of State or whatever, some important
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
What are the countries that India said no? She
India
was
said
badass.
no. Good for her.
Some sort of Eastern European one was
Um,
reluctant but got on board with it. The guy who got punched in the throat.
Oh, there was the Secretary General of NATO. That was the guy who got. He was on the TV earlier. He was Secretary of NATO. Some East Asian looking guy who didn't say anything.
Didn't say anything. He didn't get any lines. So
No.
shame for representation there.
And then the Indian one. I assume Indian, because why not?
Not Pakistani. She was probably Indian. Anyway, it's not explicit. So they're all Skrulls. So like all these high political leaders have been Skrulls the whole time.
Yeah.
So
well,
that is fun.
That is
which is a good play on the original thing, which is like a lot of some sort of council. I don't know.
Yeah. So that is the council that they reference in the first episode.
Oh, okay.
That Gravik got they say Gravik got a seat on the council, and I'm like, okay, so this is what Talos was doing before. Now Gravik's. So who the fuck is Gravik? He's just sort of he's all these world leaders, and Gravik.
Gravik.
There's like the
leader. And why did the UK woman back him? There's obviously like they're either fucking or like he's got something on her, or she's crazy or something like that.
They've had some sort of a deal beforehand or something.
Yeah, there's an altercation there, which is fine. Love that. Politically intrigued.
Which kind of puts Christopher McDonald in a funny place a funny situation because he was the one on TV saying this was not America, blah, blah, blah. And now he's like submitted to Gravik. Now he's got to go back on that and say, okay, yeah, now my country is going to go to war with Russia.
So is that what the council's going to do now?
I think that's what their thought was. They're sort of, I don't know, arming up. Like we said before, not a lot happened. They sort of agreed to move forward with a plan. That was the action.
I don't know what's going on. I did like the Indian woman's speech about the fact that like they lost their home. Was it they didn't lose their home world because they were too slow. They weren't
because they didn't want to fight. We lost because we were too willing,
too quick to do it.
Yeah,
which is good because it kind of reminds us, or kind of like puts in context the fact that no, Skrulls aren't the good guys. Yes, there can be victims on both sides. There's still refugees in war. Of course, we know that from our own world, but there's still absolute pieces of shit in the Skrull homeworld. So not that they brought it on themselves, but war is shit and they took part in it. So they're not like, oh, poor us, because that's just too much a departure from their character in the comics, and they've got to be bad at some point. So you can't have us like them all because like, sweet, nice people.
I mean, they were introduced in Captain Marvel, and we expect them to be the bad guys because even people who are avid comic readers like yourselves, the Skrulls are bad guys. And then the twist was, oh no, this one's good, and they're just refugees. Like, okay, that works for that film. Now the Feige's of the world have to be like, how do we make this back into a narrative that aligns more closely with the comics?
And how have we not used Feige as an intro? It's like two Feiges or faggots or something like that. I feel like that's Kevin Faggot.
I didn't think of that. Kevin Faggot. No, Faggot?
Faggot.
Anyway,
sorry.
Let's workshop it.
That's right. I'll roll around a bit.
Put it in the dryer. Let it roll around a bit. Okay, so that council thing happened, and then Oh, here we go. And then basically they get back to the Skrull camp and they have a bit of a yay, hooray, we did what we wanted to do kind of thing. And then Gaia follows somebody. I forget. This is where I was faltering with the names. Pagon, maybe? He's because I had the subtitles on, and I think it's called Pagon, who I think is the yellow hat guy from the last episode. But then I thought yellow hat guy got arrested. No, there's like the scene like he was arrested. But I don't know. I'm getting confused because that would anyway. So she follows him into that laboratory. We see that they're doing DNA experiments. There's some sort of machine. Okay, there's a lot of DNA in this episode, so they're trying to manipulate the DNA somehow. And so she learns the doctor's name, Rosa Dalton. Okay, I got Rosa from the subtitles, and then the captured guy says Dalton later. So Dalton is the woman who she talks to. Are you looking it up now? So then Gaia goes into a computer and she types in Rosa Dalton. You know, she's like, I'm gonna find a computer. I'm gonna search Rosa Dalton. I'm gonna go onto the. She was like, I'm gonna go onto the internal organization. I'm gonna go to the SharePoint of the Skrull base. Look up Rosa Dalton on this like 80s Mac computer.
I love it.
And so this Dalton, this bitch, she's like she's studying references to other MCU properties. So there's Call Obsidian. So they've got the hand, apparently, the hand that gets cut off in Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
You see, there's Call Obsidian, like briefly, a brief shot in one of the trailers. It's like in kind of like a one of those boxes that we think it's Olivia Colman opening to finding. We assume the hand is in there because the hand was cut off by Wong and it was never recovered. Anyway, so she's studying Call
Oh.
Obsidian.
Yeah.
And she's studying Extremis, which is the virus, I guess, from Iron Man 3 that
Yeah.
heals people, then it was disappeared forever. Too dangerous,
Yeah.
whatever. And what else was there? There was
Frost
Frost
Beast?
Beast.
What
I
the
have no
fuck is
idea.
that?
No idea. What's Frost Beast? Is it reference to something?
Was there anything in like Ice Giants or Loki or anything like that?
I
Loki
mean,
was a frost giant.
true, Frost Giant, but I've deleted Thor 2 from my memory completely. I
Yeah,
have
me
no
too.
idea. Plus, I watched it. That was the only one I pirated, and all the scenes with Christopher Eccleston where they're speaking the language had no subtitles. I had no idea
No
what was going on.
subtitles.
Anyway, Frost Beast, and there was one at the top.
Oh, okay.
Of
See, I
it.
didn't get any of this. I wasn't paying attention to any of this.
I've Eagle
So
Eyes, man. I gotta watch Eagle Eyes. This is why we're
it's
doing
good.
this
This is what
podcast.
we
It's like
want.
what's all that shit. What
This
was
is
the first
helpful.
one? There's something else on top.
So they're looking to combine some sort of like DNA from all these different kind of things to make the Skrulls stronger then,
Yeah,
right?
or something. Yeah, and he mentions the harvest. Gravik sends him to look for a harvest, and there was nothing there, whatever. Because he comes into the lab, and she's like, "Did you bring it, or did you
Yeah.
have it, whatever?" And he's like, "No." And they get into a fight, and she's like,
So
"Wait,
he's not the yellow cat guy, he's that bald cat guy. What's his name? The kind of skinhead one, that one. I don't know. I don't know why I'm asking because I won't remember even if you tell
they
me.
call him
All right.
Pagon, and he's significant enough that the actor has his name in the opening credits. So
Okay. So he's in it a lot. All right. Okay. So that's what their goal is then, to make them stronger.
yeah,
Super Skrull
DNA,
style.
DNA, and harvest are the buzzwords to look out for. So that happens. What else happened?
Olivia Colman,
Oh yeah, so the
just being fucking brilliant as always, does her interrogation of the yellow hat sexy guy in the vest.
I assume that was the yellow hat guy because I'm so confused now.
Yeah. Right?
Because they
Yeah.
did. Oh no, they must be because of the very beginning where
I'm
they have the
American.
news reports. There's a shot of them being, oh, they have one person in custody who's an American, and now they think that it's American. So I'm assuming that's the yellow hat guy.
And at the beginning opening scene, he was very vocal about shouting, I'm an American, I'm an American. I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? Obviously, so that the news reports would hear it and that they
Mhm.
think it's an American thing. I'm
Which
so
is very,
dumb.
which is very clever, but also
It's
like
also, it's something an America, sorry, like a
yes,
basic American would do.
that's
isn't
exactly what I
it?
was going
Like,
to say.
oh,
Yeah.
what, USA kind of thing. Sorry.
I have rights, not this
Yeah.
one, you
I'm
don't, bitch.
American.
So yeah, so that interrogation scene.
Okay.
What does that tell you about me and doors?
I love it. She's so great. I don't think like Olivia Colman really doesn't change in whatever she's in. She's still pretty much Olivia Colman, but she's just brilliant
She is,
as
yeah,
that. Whether she's a detective or the queen
the
or
queen.
whoever the hell this MI6 agent person is.
Did you see her in that one film where she's like the mother? She got an Oscar nomination for it. I forget what it was called.
The
And then,
father.
oh yeah, she was good in that as well. But obviously,
Oh,
it was all about Anthony Hopkins. No, there's one where she's like on some holiday in Italy, I think, and she's like reminiscing about her children and how, and the younger version of her was played by. Oh fuck! Why do I get myself into these holes?
I don't know. You start these sentences without realizing where they're going, and that's your own fault.
It was like directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
I don't know.
something about anyway. She's really good in that.
It's like a thrillery kind of one. She's a bit crazy, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, she's just sort
Okay.
of coping with.
Loss.
It was interesting. It was weird. It was weird in a good way. Anyway, she was great in that.
Okay.
Um.
So anyway, yes. So
Anyway, so
she's
she's
this
great.
like twee English person who like snips off his finger and injects him with fucking battery acid to make him burn from the inside
Mhm.
out and
Which
gets
went,
him.
which I said to you is that
Yes,
extremist, but we don't know. It could be because we don't know how it would
it
interact with
could
smuggling.
be, but that's what the Skrulls have got, and it's weird that if they're both just casually bombing
Oh
around
yeah, your
using
point.
it,
Yeah. So I think it's just random generic
just some sort of
blood boiler
blood
thing. Yeah.
acid thing or
Blood
whatever.
acid, yeah.
So she gets some information and then scutters away.
Scutters away. She's like, I'm just gonna be here.
Shuffles away with her handbag, scrolling through a
And they don't
ventilation
chase
shaft.
her, which is odd.
Yeah, but whatever. I'm glad they
Whatever,
don't because she'll be in the next episode.
of course.
Um,
But also pretty much confirm that she's not a scroll then,
well, we'll
unless
see.
it's like the twist.
We'll see, because she could be working against the other scrolls and not want the
Hmm.
scrolls. I still don't know if scrolls know scrolls are scrolls.
It's not been shown that they do,
No,
so
right?
willing to
They
believe
could be
that they don't.
tricked. Okay.
So my original theory of is Rhodey a scroll? I'm not so sure anymore,
He
but I'm
could, of
still
course, he could be. Of course, he could be.
yeah.
He's just
But
been
like,
in it for longer than you think.
if he was though, then you'd think he'd be more on Nick Fury's side, which then lets my brain think, oh, maybe he's just like playing Nick Fury to distance him from the U.S. government so we can succeed. Whatever, I don't know.
No, he's not going to be on Nick Fury's side because
No,
he's a
for this, if Skrull, if Rhodey was a Skrull.
but like
Anyway,
not a good scroll.
I still have my bet placed. He's a Skrull.
Okay, you think Rhodey, I think Olivia Colman,
Yeah, okay.
because I think that'd be a fun reveal.
The battle lines are drawn.
So what's happening with Gaia? Who
Right.
did she give that information to? Because I couldn't hear a fucking thing. When she got out the car during the raid,
Yeah,
she went down the alleyway, made a
yeah.
phone call casually, so the guy didn't notice. Fucking
I
hell.
will say on the phone call, all it said in the captions was speaking Russian. That was it.
Oh, thank God. That's why I couldn't understand it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't understand a thing.
A good thing. Oh, I don't know Russian. Okay, thank goodness.
Whew. Who is she speaking Russian to?
The police.
And
She's
so
given.
she tipped them off that that's the safe house? Were they in
Yes.
Russia? Okay. I
Yeah.
did watch the episode, I swear. I just
Yeah.
don't know.
No, I guess no. That is fair because that is confusing because obviously they're still in Russia, but
Olivia
Fury
Colman's
and
there.
Talos are on the train
Also, she
to.
was there in the first one.
Oh,
Oh,
wait a
shit.
second. No, they were all in Moscow in the first one, and then Nick Fury and Talos take a train to Warsaw, and then suddenly he's in America because he's there with Maria Hill's mother. So he must be in America. But they're still in Moscow.
Yes.
Anyway, so she tips off the police and sort of gets that guy killed.
Yeah.
Do you think that she probably knew? She knew, obviously. She knew that that would happen, and that they would then Gravik would think, oh, I don't know who's playing who, which I think is great. Which I think is the point of the
It's
spy
the
thriller.
whole
But
point, yeah.
so
What's
she,
her end game then? Just to
I don't know. It's not
make
for
it
us.
harder for
Not for us
things?
to be aware.
Okay.
It's her end game is to keep us watching the next
Mm,
episode.
it's working. I still don't like her wig, but there we go. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it is. But until you mentioned it last week, I wasn't aware that wigs were so prevalent in
Yeah.
shows like this. I mean, Nick Fury's got a fucking beard wig that he was so scruffy last episode, and he must have gotten a trim this episode.
I
So
was gonna say he's
he's
not
not
got
on the
rid of
run
it yet.
completely. You know,
Has he?
he just bought a Russian beard trimmer. It was like, bzzz, got to look a little bit
Okay.
better, bzzz, not too much.
Well,
He's
he probably trimmed his beard to go to Maria Hill's funeral and see her mother. He probably would have tied it himself after
true,
that.
true, but he's also like when he sees Rhodey. Oh, here's the thing: when he sees Rhodey, he's obviously more beard trimmed.
Mm.
bit of a haircut or something. No, he doesn't get haircuts. What am I talking about? Anyway,
He's bald.
um, yeah, thank you. uh, as soon as Rhodey says he's fired, he does like a little cough, like a wheezy cough, like, oh, I'm old and infirm. Don't count on me to do anything. Do we still think that's a ploy? Do we think that's a false
Did he do a
front?
cough or did he just down a whiskey and cough?
I don't remember.
He downed the drink
Yeah,
and then coughed because he shouldn't have downed
maybe
the whole
that's
drink of
what it
whiskey.
is.
Which also does a nice little play. It's like he's not badass because a badass would be like, I don't care, motherfucker. But
Yeah,
he
this
was like,
bird's my throat.
oh, fucking hell. I shouldn't have done that. Nope, should have sipped it. Oh, bloody hell.
Fucking
So,
takes on
yeah.
security team guy. Like, don't fucking touch me. Flick your arm.
Yeah.
I'm Nick
So we're
Fury.
going to obviously have a lot more Nick Fury on the run, which is another trope
Yeah.
in spy stuff, which I love. Shut up, Siri. Siri, stop. Hey, Siri, stop. Oh my God, shut up.
I love it.
Oh,
Keep that in. This is the hazards of recording live.
God. So yeah, next week we'll have Nick Fury on the run. I want to find out more about what Olivia Colman's doing with that information. Like if she is genuinely like MI6, will the UK get more involved? That sort of stuff.
Or is she like
just
MI6
shit-stirring?
adjacent?
Yeah, or whatever.
And did she keep the finger?
DNA. Let's find out what they're doing. Let's have some more obvious stuff.
Well, the MI6 doesn't need Skrull DNA, I'm sure, but
no,
I love that as a plot device to see if someone's a Skrull. Just cut off the fucking finger.
Now that's confirmed, that's great, and also a great way of saving on special effects because like, I just need to CGI. I do enjoy watching all the ways that they've clearly like saved on time and effects.
Yeah,
by having everyone either like when the council change, they're all really blurred in the background, which looks great, really dramatic, but also we don't need to see the detail. Or when they're in the shadow or running, that sort of stuff, and they like perfect. Stand up and they're here. Good use of time.
Everyone's so you just have to CGI the face and the hands.
Yeah, just do that bit.
What do we think about the ending then? Because it wasn't a cliffhanger, so to speak, but
no, it's like, oh, he's been married to a Skrull this whole time.
Okay.
But
yeah.
So she was the Skrull at the beginning who introduced Gravik.
Oh yeah, so he's kind of like Gravik's stepdad.
Oh, because I was also interested to see at the beginning part, he's been using Skrulls as agents since the 90s, which isn't, I don't think, wasn't a comic book thing, obviously, because they're not sided with us.
Yeah.
That's fucking fun.
Yeah. Because then we don't know who's been a Skrull this whole time. It's a really good way to sort of do that. But also, what does Talos mean when you vanished? Because he says you vanished, and I'm thinking, okay, because oh no, he means the blip. He means the blip. Yeah, he means the snap. So you vanished, and then you were away.
Came back, and then he went.
No longer your boots were back on the ground. I think tell me if I'm wrong, but after everyone becomes back from the snap, you only see Nick Fury at Iron Man's funeral, and you don't see him anywhere else on Earth. There's like a shot of him like he's by himself on the porch at the funeral when you see everybody, and that's it.
Yeah, because you didn't see him talking to Carol or anything, because I remember that was a bit of a waste.
No, because the next time we see him, I think, is
Spider-Man,
and that was revealed that it was Talos the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's what he means. Well done, writers. You've tied it in together. You've kept the continuity of the universe intact. He does get involved with a Skrull in the comics, doesn't he? Do you not? Is that a thing that I read somewhere, or was that from you?
I didn't say that. I don't know.
The listeners can't see your faces, Nick.
I was like, don't call me out. Don't call me out on the podcast. I'm supposed to be the comic books guy. I don't know.
I thought he was. He was definitely like in a relationship with a Skrull at some point, but I don't know. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Did you say, aren't we all?
Wouldn't we all? That'd be great.
Yeah. Hey, can you manipulate your butthole?
Body parts. Could you turn into Chris Evans for the evening? Love you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Bye.
thanks. And also, like, they can't. They can do if they can shapeshift. They can. They're not going to be. They're not going to be like, ooh, it hurts. Ow. They just. You know what I mean? They just kind of
No, I don't know what you mean. What do
adjust.
you mean,
They
John?
just adjust
Just
their
just
body. They adjust their
what?
body.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Oh, please, as if you're so naive and innocent.
What?
Anything else you want to talk about the episode?
Um,
What do we think is going to happen next?
I want some more action.
This episode was definitely like a prep episode.
Yeah,
Like we're all
and
preparing for the next
I
step.
like that and I appreciate that. But when you've only got 6 episodes, like
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like
definitely
when
a it's definitely a slower burn, this one, but
which again I'm fine with, but we've only got 6 episodes. Like
yeah.
we're a third of the way through, and I still don't know who anyone's name is. So
Talos Gaia.
yeah, I got
Nick,
that.
that's
Nick.
what we need.
I remember Nick. That's
I'll be the one who's going to be like, no, that's now that Brogan is gone, we've got Pagan. Anyway, I'll try my best. So, yeah, I want some more action next episode, and I think that we're finally going to get. I think we're going to get Nick Fury back into his sort of badass self.
yeah. It's got to be Nick Fury on the run. He's 2 steps ahead. You know, he's already got a car parked and off on his way. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get to that shit. What's he got to do? What does he
Who are
have
his?
to do?
Yeah, exactly. Who's he got left? Who are his remaining allies? He's kind of told Talos to fuck off. Maria
right.
Hill's dead. Rhodey's sort of fired him. He's definitely sort of looking to see where his allies lie, which means I want to go back to my wife that I've not seen for 10 years or whatever. So I think he's just sort of gathering his resources, but he better fucking get some stuff done now. What is Gravik's next step? War, basically.
Is he going to do some sort of fake retaliation then? So like an attack on US pretending to be Russia?
Ooh, that would be devious. Yeah.
Or does he double down on Russia? Who knows?
Who knows?
Tune in next week to find out.
Yeah, I'm excited. Although, well done, Marvel. I'm excited about the show now. I'll definitely be here for next week. If you have any more insights, dear listener, and you want to let us know, please get in touch. You can contact us on email at incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com, or you can contact us on TikTok or Instagram. Our handles there are at incompletegeeks.
Yeah, I do apologize. I forgot everyone's name. I don't know if Nick Fury is married to a Skrull in the comics or has a. I'm sorry about that, but you know what? I'm not a complete geek.
But you are working on it.
We are.
Yes.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening. Bye.